Boom, boom. What up? Give me a second, y'all. I need to get the link out. There we go. Hey, yay. Where's my. There we go. Streaming. Let me refresh, get the URL, and get this into the Discord. This is supposed to be 61, and it says 60. I will have to fix that later, man. Later. It's not a big deal. Paste the link here, and let me add the crew to this one in case they're interested. One moment, y'all. Let me just do this real fast, man. Do. There we go. Do. Copy this. Edit. And then copy. Hold on. Shift. There we go. Makes my life easy. And then put in. All right. Yay. All right, and hit send. And then look at this. All right. Give everybody some time. And then I will get started. What up, everybody? I'm just giving people just a little bit more time to get up in here before I get started. Hope everyone is doing well. Boom. We about to get it poppin'. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get it going. What up, everybody? Welcome to CryptoPlunder ToxicThoughts 61. Where my name is J Tragic Jeffrey. This is where I dump my brain on the internet and kind of show you why we are making the business decisions we're making, how we're looking at business, how we're looking at these networks, how we're looking at gaming as well as media, everything in business and blockchain to navigate this so that not only can we do business for ourselves, but hell, y'all can do business for yourselves as well, right? So that you can get into this game and find your niches in this market to be able to make market in this pivot from the analog, right? What we are as a business is under the understanding, or what we feel is that the analog business world that we know is done, and it's been a wrap. It's been a wrap for it. And why? Simple. The business model of now, once we went to the computer age, right? Once you put a machine in a building, and then that machine had good internet, and that machine has somebody that knows how to use that machine, and if they could do it in their own private office in your building, then they can do it any place on the planet. And we are now at that point where it makes no sense for a business to have people commute to computers. especially since you're letting people get a laptop and that laptop is transportable, right? So as long as they have good internet, they can work. And for the most part, we're good on that. And as we grow, these new networks will be even better, right? As we get into these new decentralized business models, decentralized bandwidth is going to change how we not only do business, but even what businesses are, especially since automation or the Internet of Things. What does that have to do with blockchain gaming? Well, the biggest thing that it has to do with blockchain gaming is the fact that the blockchain and how it interacts is going to leverage all of it to be able to facilitate networks. And even how you game is going to still piggyback off these networks, right? It might be Wi Fi networks, decentralized gaming networks. We're going to be piggybacking off of that. Now, before I get deep into everything else, why did we even bring this up? Well, Noel and Sakim, right, like to know what do I know in terms of the big players and companies that are in the field, right? Into the metaverse. How can we get involved in the metaverse? Which platforms are aligning themselves for this bigger platform? NFTs and the future of them in the metaverse, and whatever else inspires me to go into. So we're going to get into that. We're going to do that in a second. I'm glad you laid it out this way. It actually keeps my mind focused, which is awesome. So we're going to go through these bullet points and figure these out. We're going to figure it out on the fly. So I'm going to show you how to fish, how to figure these things out, and how to keep an eye on them for yourselves, because I might dip out of worrying about platforms until April. And because like I told y'all, the crypto is going to collapse. I'm going to show you on the charts. Bitcoin is going to finish its halving cycle soon, right? So as we called this dip, we called this pump, we called this dip, we called the pump, and you see we pumped. We broke through this line, right? Now we have some time to go before we get this dip into a subsequent pump. That's just the way these things are playing out. And so far, it's been playing like 2017 directly. So that's why I don't care about news. I don't care about anything else. Why? Because this has been playing out exactly where it played out back here, where it's playing exactly the same way. Then if it does play exactly the same way, then you see what happens. If you look at the bottom down here, you'll see the chart shows December. Let me see, this is the first week of December. This is the first week of December right here. Right? So right here is the first week of December. Here's the second. Here's the third. Here's the fourth. And then we're January. Okay? Now look what happened. We took this huge dip all the way down in the third week of December. This is the first week, the second week of December, right? So that's why I'm telling y'all to be out by the second week of December. And actually, let me put this over here because y'all didn't see it. Boom, here we go. This is where it is. But back to this. So if we look here, back in 2017, this is how I've been calling all of the shots that I've been calling here. So when I called all of these right here, all of this came back from 2017. So like I keep telling y'all, I'm not doing no magical, mystical crap. The charts are charts. Charts, it plays the way it plays. I don't have to care about how it plays. And I'm also going to be back into swing trading a little bit because I've been learning from Johnny Bravo. I'm actually going to start on one of his courses on swing trading because coming in spring, I'm actually going to be flipping over to start looking at the automated trucks that we've been talking about, because trucking parts, or truckers are having problems with their parts and everything else. So since they're having the logistics nightmare, I noticed that the only firms that already had their parts are the ones that can manufacture themselves or manufacture it themselves, which are the automated trucking firms. Why? They've been making their own parts because they have to manufacture them for these new vehicles they're making for themselves. So that's where I'm going to start swing trading some of these other things that I see. So I'm taking some courses. I'm not going to get deep into that right now. The fundamental purpose of what I'm showing y'all right now is why I'm not doing a whole bunch of news and all that crap is it doesn't matter so long as it's playing out like 2017. And if it's going to play out like 2017, I expect this to keep running until the second week of December. Basically, by the first week of December, I'm out. Right? So when I'm out, then it's going to fall where it falls. It's going to keep falling all the way to February. And you see it goes all the way to June. It's basically bouncing around the same place. And then in November, right here, which is the purple, it dips down. And that's basically the bottom. Right? So after November of next year, that's when I'm back in the market. So you see that for this whole time, I mean, I'll do a little bit of investing here, but I'm waiting for when it just hemorrhages all the way down, at the end of next year. So that's why at the top of this, where we have these marks, and y'all, subscribe to the video if you want to keep alerts. I notify everything, especially in the Discord. I notify in the Discord about the moves that I'm making for the fund for Toxic Hustle. So what I'm doing is I'm managing Toxic Hustle's money so we have enough revenue at Toxic Hustle to be able to make the investments into hardware we need to shore up networks to be in these games, right? But rather than just hopium and doing all the let me just spend money, what we're doing is once we get that in to the market, we're going to, give me 1 second, put that in our robots, right? And this is the robot that's in the link in the description for the trading robot for the class that we have. This is the classroom bot. The classroom bot started with $1,000. The market crashed after that, so we had about $800 left. And then it's been trading for the most part autonomously on its own for the last 4 months here, right? And if you look at what the profits are, if we started with just $1,000, right? And then the robot has 595. So now the reason why I haven't touched this or done anything with this, I want to show y'all something. And it's not just to prove it to y'all. We are Toxic Hustle. We are R&D. We're research and development. Like what I've been doing for years, y'all, is research and development. Now, when we're talking about the metaverse, before we get talking about all this crazy code, we're going to be able to sit on top of it. What we need to do is wrap our heads around what's coming. Wrap around our heads around the fact that the hardware is changed. And because the hardware is changed, everything has changed. Why do I say the hardware is important? Because I told my staff sergeant in 1992 that Microsoft and computers don't mean nothing. Right? I was wrong. In 1992, I told him, staff sergeant, who's going to have computers in their damn houses? The only people that are going to do that are nerds, and nerds don't matter. And by the way, I was in the military at the time. I was serving in the U.S. Marines, and it was in the Marines that I actually learned to gangbang, like where I became a gangbanger. Because the gangbangers at the time had the choice of 3 strikes and you're out type rules that they were doing with the Democrats, right? We're doing all that crazy side-ish. And then those guys were like, well, they were given a choice, because they were doing this war stuff and they wanted to get us, shot up. So they're like, we're the front line of bullets. So they're like, oh, okay, well, if you got a choice to make, you can either, go to jail or you can go in the military. You know what a brother's gonna choose. All right, shoot, I get to shoot shit. All right, let's go. I was not smart enough I barely got through high school. But when I got into the service is when I started to understand a little bit of what was going on, the hardware. But it wasn't until I got out of the military that I realized Microsoft stock, and I realized what was important about Microsoft. It was the importance wasn't the fact that it was Microsoft. The importance was you could take a piece of hardware, a motherboard, and some pieces of equipment. You could piece something together. You can put DOS on the board, right? On this, you could put on the to make a computer. It only took a motherboard, a CPU, a hard drive, the memory, a case, monitor, mouse, keyboard. And and inside the case, of course, you have to have the memory, the power, the power for the motherboard, right? I just literally just told you all the parts basically to build a computer. And that's what I learned in a book. And what I realized was for the 1500 they were charging for hardware, you could go into any of these computer places. And at the time I was in New York, it was Queens. You could go into these computer places and then they had these parts just for like $100 here, $50 there, a sound card. Oh yeah, sound card, because I wanted to get into making music. So I put a sound card on there. If I put a little tablet board, boom, I had a graphic machine. I put Excel, Microsoft Word. Now all of a sudden I had an office because I had a spreadsheet. These are the things I didn't catch. Then the internet came, the AOL. Some people got on AOL chat rooms and was trying to mac with women and be in all the dating rooms. And me, my stupid behind is in AOL Wares rooms downloading software for free, downloading tutorial videos for free. Before there was a YouTube, you just had to download the MP, at the time, it was real media files. Or you had to buy, you had to download the Windows format. I think it was WMV files. What I'm showing you, the reason why I'm telling you this before we go into this whole metaverse is I want y'all to understand hardware. Understand hardware is shifted. Understand there's no longer really a need for a desktop. There's no longer really needs for these big ass servers anymore. We're going into a decentralized marketplace because the hardware has gotten mad small. This picture, I throw it in the 3 a.m. room. And again, I'm showing you these things first, why these things are important. And this is why I'm not doing news, like I said, because it doesn't matter. We're not going to crash here. We're gonna dip here, pop here. So let's go into the actual stuff that we need to deal with, which is the games, right? The first thing first is hardware's changing, y'all. All right? This board is still small, and on this board, you can fit either a Raspberry Pi or you can sit a NVIDIA Jetson Nano. These NVIDIA Jetsons have GPUs on board. So basically, and then if you look here, you see you've got 6 cores and you've got 8 gigabytes of RAM. And you can see here what it's doing. It's basically these machines. This is one whole Raspberry Pi running. So you got basically, you could have 4 Raspberry Pis running. So that's 4 operating systems running. I could have one machine doing artificial or data like scraping. I can have another one taking the data that's coming in from the scrape and analyzing it, the HTML, to get the stuff out of it. I can have this one over here being something else, like being an artificial intelligence that's doing stuff for marketing and social media, and this over here that's monitoring stuff on Twitter and being able to monitor keywords or interactions with customers. The change that we can now do, what we can now build, before we worry about the metaverse and all the software we're going to overlay all of this, understand that the infrastructure investment next year is going to be paramount. That you can invest in the hardware side of things for how these codes and these games are going to run. So why I show you this, right, is for you to get an understanding of some of the companies that you don't understand that I'm going to talk about tonight, is going to be like Gala Games. And what you don't understand is what you're running is I can run Gala Games on a server. Basically, if a server is nothing more than Linux, right? And then some operating system stuff that you can run some scripts like putting Node.js and putting Python in there and running some scripts and batches and getting some stuff on this machine. Well, then what if I had multiple machines and all of them had good internet services? Like business grade or server grade data. What if I started installing server grade data in my real estate? What if I was able to have that real? I want you to get before you get like the metaverse is beautiful. It's an amazing thing. But what I want you to understand is the metaverse won't work without the hardware, the land hardware, the infrastructure for it to play right. And what you'll miss in just worrying about making digital assets is that while we're watching and waiting for the digital assets to play out, our physical assets are changing on us. So what I'm talking about is real estate. So what I'm injecting in your head is to start thinking about, we already have it. What are you going to do with that real estate? Well, this real estate is going to be sitting empty for the most part because a lot of people don't have jobs to support paying the elevated real estate prices. And as those prices don't seem to be dying out, we're getting ready to go through another run. I've been watching some economists that are that do the data. Like they don't just don't do a bunch of hyperbole. These guys actually go through the data and they're mapping it all out so that they can make trades based off of an oversaturated market. I'm looking for the people that are that know that we're in a bubble and what are their hedges that they're playing to survive the bubble that is here in the stock market, because the stock market is way overvalued and it's going to go through some type of correction, and real estate seems to be the hedge right now that they're playing towards. But real estate is also in a bubble. We'll know whether or not the defaults shoot up, whether or not next year, we'll get past Christmas, we'll see if we get some stumbles. So let's start talking about why I'm talking about hardware. The reason why I'm talking about hardware is these games are going to need to play someplace. So if you want to know where things might be going to, where do most games, or where are games going to? When things crashed, when the web was crashing, where a whole bunch of games, when Amazon had problems, it crashed a lot of games. Why? Because Amazon Web Services, you can go over here and you can begin to, like, this is confusing. See, there's an easy way to do this. Let me go to light sale. Right. Hold on. So here. No. Amazon Light Sale. Amazon Light Sale is their easy installation, server installation packages. So if you wanted to spin up something fast, you can spin up something like a hold on, let's go to pricing. Let me see if here we go. So like you can spin up a Windows machine, right? So if I wanted a Windows machine, I can spin one up. Now I want you to take a look at the prices. Now I'm gonna go Linux first, and there's a reason I'm showing y'all this, because I want y'all to see something. I want you to see what you get for 1 gigabyte of memory, 1 core processor, 40 gigabytes of RAM, and 2 terabytes of transfer, right? Let's go over to what basically is a Raspberry Pi, even though I think it has 4 cores, not 2 cores. And then you can put whatever. I have a terabyte sitting in mine right now. And the transfer is of course, your bandwidth for whatever internet service you have. I just use business services. The reason why I choose to use a business service, so what I mean by business services, I don't use the internet like public internet. I don't just go to Comcast. What I do is I'll go to, let's go like, And I'm showing you all this for a reason, y'all. Comcast Business. What I want y'all to do is understand that when you're dealing with blockchain, or when you're dealing with any of these technologies, you've got to deal with it on the business side because you're a business. So this is what I do. I will go get internet as a business and I'll write it off. I don't that not home. You can still use your home internet for personal like playing games, but then if you can stream your game that you're playing, now guess what you can do? And you put it on YouTube and you monetize that in some form of way. Guess what you've done? You've now turned even playing a game into a business. If you put your computer or laptop in a room and you work out of that room on a consistent basis and you record out of that room on a consistent basis, measure the area, the square feet footage of that room and the square footage of your home, and then you can write it off in your personal business taxes. I'm talking about just as a social security number. It's not even for you to be a business owner or having to file anything. I spent multitudes of years just having a business grade PayPal account. That was my bank. So it was business.paypal.com. I think they changed it to paypal.com/business. And that got me my business debit card. And that was my exit strategy. Business and commerce as a more, or whatever else you want to call yourself, as indigenous or whatever, we've got to understand we just need to get back to Black Wall Street, right? If we want to be Black Wall Street or Moors or whatever we want to call ourselves, we have to navigate commerce, or all of that stuff is just hyperbole. Because if you look at Black Wall Street, they had finance centers. We have no finance centers. We have no commerce or intercommerce. We don't have none of that. So until you have that, you're not doing your job. So what I'm showing is what I've had to do in taking the information from the 3 a.m. room, from the Musical Geniuses Discord, link in the description, and be able to say, okay, well, now that I know all this stuff and I can see all this history about what our people used to do, oh, well, why the hell aren't we doing it? So this is what you do. Now, if you have an apartment and you're paying rent, part of your rent can be written off. Take one room and turn it into an office and measure out that office's room, measure out the square footage of your entire apartment or house, and then deduct out of that how much you need to. And that includes electricity. Can now go to that computer and laptop. You can just take the average of how much that, or just take the deductions. Like I use TurboTax, and then just hook it up to like Mint or some other accounting software, and you basically can have it. And it's home and business. If you get TurboTax Home and Business, it will walk you through everything. Do you have an office? Say yes. Shoot, and then it'll ask you for the square footage of the room, and then you can go online and figure out square footage. Right, so that's how you start to get your business taxed in, right? And then you can start doing things in your house, even as a private citizen or a whatever they consider a straw man or whatever bullshit, right? So then if you own a home, well, now you can put solar panels on that home, right? And then if you put solar panels on the home, you can now deduct things. Those are your credits right there. I told y'all it's about carbon credits and energy credits. Now, if you put a Raspberry Pi, if you put you have business internet, right? Close this out. Now you'll have your business internet that you're able to write off, and you'll also, and then if you put your Raspberry Pi, like as I said, it's $40 a month you've got to pay for that. For what? And it's not even the full power of a Pi, but you have to spend $40. Why am I interested in blockchain? Because in the future, I believe that you'll be able to run code on multiple nodes all over the internet, and it'll be running on Raspberry Pis. Why? Their 16 gigabytes are probably a year to 2 years away. 16 gigabytes. Look how much that's going to cost per month. Do you not see that working with a centralized server is not going to work? But you can put Docker containers and all that inside on these machines. And as well, you can also run Windows machines. And there's other machines that are smaller single board computers that can run Windows. You can pay one time and run it. So really, it's about bandwidth. And we're about to get 5G bandwidth to be able to have these devices piggybacking off of that instead of piggybacking off of these hard lines. The Internet of Things changes the internet. So I want y'all to concentrate on your hardware in spring as the market begins to consolidate. Not financial advice. Don't listen to an idiot like me. I've only been kind of right. But at the same time, when you see the market make the dip that we saw, that I showed you on the earlier in this video, you'll have to rewind and see it if you missed it. You're gonna bounce around April, and it's gonna go down again a little bit in November, and then I would be getting into the hardware, and of course I'll be talking about on ToxicHustle. Everything's gonna be transparent. I'm still working on the code now. Now let's get into it. Let's talk about these blockchain games. I'm going to show you how to do it because I'm looking and it still seems hella early. But I'm going to show you how you can quickly scope this out for yourselves and keep an eye on it yourselves. I'm going to get the robot to start scraping this stuff and just keeping me abreast on it, because what I'm concentrating on now is code. How to put code someplace, how to get NFTs rolling. There's not one platform to run them all, but there's a few that seem to be in pocket. So I want you to go here and you can look here. I have playtoearn.net/blockchain games. I'll put the link in the description. I'll put the link in the Discord, so that you can go to it from the Discord. But and there'll be the Cash Lane Discord. So in the blockchain game space, you go here and chains. You can choose who you want, right? I'm choosing the ones that I'm interested in, which will be right now, let's just say Engine, right? So boom, now I have Engine, and what do I see? I can look at the social media score that lets me know how their social media presence is looking like in the last 24 hours. And I can sort, it's currently sorted that way from high to low. And that's typically what I'll do. And then another thing that I'll also do is look for Windows devices. Why I do that is because then it lets me know how close to an actual functional program they have. Now again, I'll look at these things and go up. So now, what's going on in gaming? Again, why I say this is too early is because of the news, but only one in particular, which was Steam. Oh, Steam games and crypto. Crypto games got kicked in the face not too long ago. You can see by 2 days ago, it seems 3 days, 2 days, seemingly, yeah, about it's this week, right? So you can see 2 days. Epic says it's open to blockchain games because Steam did a Steam ban on any games that were on the blockchain that or had some type of crypto. Everybody's quote unquote scared of legislation. I think they're just punks and they don't want their money. They're scared that there's a bypass into the way they can make money. See, Steam became Apple. And what Steam doesn't get is that Steam is now, there's other blockchain companies that are going to become Steam. So before we delve deep into like all the games that you might want to get on, understand that they just got shook out and that there's no platform now for these people to really make money. Yes, they can try to go over to Epic and be on Epic's thing, but when is that going to launch? So now you have games that have launched and have problems. One of those, I believe, is Age of Rust. Let me make sure of it. New Age of Rust. Steam. And go to the news, right? So it was this one. I think this is it. Let me just find Age. I hate their ads. Find Age of. Age of Rust. Okay, here we go. We all right, Age of Rust. So this is October 14th, so just a few days ago, right? 3 days ago. We chose to be upfront about blockchain gaming and NFTs. As a result, we finally lost the battle with Steam. While I'm disappointed for Age of Rust being removed, the point is more to the fact that blockchain games as a whole are going to be removed. This is a setback for all. Right? So you can see right now, since Steam did what they did, there was a whole litany of games getting ready to go through the back door with Steam, and that was going to also backdoor them to PlayStation 5. So what that move just did was kind of nip that in the bud. Now, what does that mean? We're probably going to be looking at Theta Networks or Theta TV or some type of what other streaming platforms going to take, not even Theta TV, what kind of gaming platform is going to take up for what Steam has done, which is, it's a distribution network, right? So what Steam does is you can download games from one central repository and get access to all those games from that one central kind of like place. Now, do we have any, so if you think about it, Steam is what? Like an app store, right? Well, that app store, you got Apple's locked up app store, you've got Google's locked up app store, and what we've now seen is we've got Steam's locked up app store. So what does that mean? What we're looking for is a blockchain app store for potential gaming. Do we currently have that? No. Is the one being built? Yep. And let me open my window over here first to make sure I don't have to log in. Give me 1 second, because I did not open this before I log. Nope, I didn't. So let me go ahead and log in, and I'm going to have to put in some data. Give me a second. There we go. There we are. Yes, I agree to the terms and conditions, blah, 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 blah. Boom. So, Gala Games, number one on my radar for potential virtual businesses. And I'm talking about this as virtual businesses. I'm not talking about this as potential of just games, right? Because I don't have time to play a bunch of damn games. Y'all ain't going to have time to play a bunch of game games, and especially when we're dealing with inflation and how to keep above inflation. Some of these things are not ready for the freaking prime time, and some of these things are. Now, Gala Games, the maker of this is, well, of some of these games, one of them of which will be, give me a second, the games. If you go over to games, you'll notice we've got Spider Tanks, that's getting ready to launch. And you also got Townstar. Now, Townstar is from the founders of Farmville. So if you had played Farmville on Facebook, this is it. Now, what they do is they now do have some form of play to earn mechanics in here, but I'm not going to talk about that. Why? Because it's new and you'd have to play the game, and then there's a whole bunch of, you have to be good at quote unquote Farmville and want to spend time doing that. And I don't see long term, if you're a business person, I don't see that as a business. Now, where's the business in this? The business is in really the nodes, right? Which is the computers. I have, of course, a node. I have one, that node that's online. I paid for a license and it was expensive, right? So you can get yourself a node. And there's also careers with these companies, right? So they'll say, come work for us. So design, engineering. So there's more opportunities besides what you can do with investments. And that's why I'm focusing on my skill set and upgrading my skill set. But if you're looking for what kind of servers or games or systems you can get into, I'm looking for infrastructure. So what I did is I got into Gala because of the server part. Again, being able to be a part of the network. Think of it like Google Games, right? Or the Google App Store, or even Microsoft's App Store, What you're doing is you download a game, but that game is working on an Amazon server, right? It's so they control you as a game developer still control your servers, but at the same time, you've got to keep spinning up the servers. You've got to do all the infrastructure work. The company is coming up with a way for that maintenance part, the IT that you need to get those servers or keep those game servers running is done by people who want to maintain it. It's exactly what Bitcoin is, except this has a practicality. Let me maintain machines that gamers can log into a game and use, and they don't have to worry about anything. But now, instead of the company taking on all of that risk of all of that infrastructure, they can now say, y'all are paying to have the rights to potentially earn from the growth of the company. Right? So this is taking ownership to a different level where you're not, when you're looking at a game company, imagine if you could be with Rockstar Games and you had servers on the network. So if you wanted a game to keep living, you could just keep the servers up and just say, yeah, keep this game running on my server still. Rather than it just being turned off just because the company doesn't want to spend the money anymore. But if it's still profitable, and even and the owner of the server will still let somebody use it for that particular code or that game, then what does it hurt? Nothing. So it's just a change of business model, right? So this is just the game server business model. So Gala Games is an infrastructure for that. I've already grabbed a node. Nodes are expensive and gonna keep being expensive. So I mean, you can wait, but the price won't go down. But I would again, if I'm gonna get another node, it will be in spring, not right now. So the next thing, let's see. So that's why I said I went with Gala Games infrastructure. It's its own infrastructure, and why, like I said, if you look at these games that are now Windows-based games, this was how I could find what I was looking for. So like you got Nine Lives Arena and all this stuff, and all of it is on Engine. Now, the next thing you could do is look at Android. So some of these will be on like the Android, or it will have like iOS and Android. So you can look at iOS if that's your device. I'll look at Android because that's my device. And then what you look at is what kind of games are there and on that same network, right? So now what networks am I interested in? Engine, of course, Polygon and Matic have games, as you can see there. We'll just say all devices for now. There we go. Now it's working. Right? And so you look at here, you've got all these games, and then you can look at which ones are kind of pumping as far as social is concerned. What I'm looking for something specific. I don't know if anything of these, if any of these games are going to fit the model what I'm looking for. Right? So currently, I'm not seeing in these games what I'm currently looking for, which is I am looking for an open world that has game mechanics that allows me to bring my content in and my content look a specific type of way. So what I'm going to do is, because like I'm showing you, you can go in here, this playtoearn.net as well as DApp Radar. You can see which one is on Polygon and everything else. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do you one better than any of these. These you can go through, and we could go one by one and try to go through all this. But like I said, I still think we're mad early. But what I'm going to do is give you something that's going to give you a better edge on infrastructure of the gaming network than anybody else is going to give you in crypto, right? I'm going to give it to you right now. This is what I'm looking for. I'm going to show you my workflow of how I'm going to create NFTs. how I'm going to want to create music videos, how I'm going to want to create games in the future, or at least work with people who are working a specific type of way. I'm going to show you the workflow that's going to get me a 3D piece of content that could potentially be an NFT or an in game item in a virtual world. I'm going to show you the workflow I'm currently modeling out, why I'm modeling it, and until I see an NFT company give me a way to inject the things I create the way I'm about to show you into whatever world it is, I don't give a damn. I am looking for something like a Second Life. If y'all don't know what it is, you'll have to do your research on it and due diligence on that. But I'm looking for something like a Second Life. If you don't understand, it's kind of like Grand Theft Auto, but you own the stores. You can be a DJ. You can be a real estate baron. You can be whatever you want to be in that virtual world, but I want game mechanics, sort of like Roblox was doing in some other games. But I don't want it blocky. I don't want no crazy look. I want real world avatars. Now, let me show you the workflow. The workflow is with a company called, I'm giving you everything. No, you ain't got to pay no subscription fees for this information. Don't tell me the company gone. Hold on. Or is my internet out? Reolution. I'm not going to do .com because for some reason it's not showing up. So let me just make sure I'm still functional. I am. And that is the URL. And there we go. For some reason, it just didn't want to load the normal way. Okay. So let's start here. And I'm going to walk you through a few products so that you can understand how I'm about to do what I'm about to do. When I say I'm going to get into gaming and I'm going to get into music videos and all that stuff, it seems crazy, but I'm going to do it without really writing a bunch of code. I'm going to is using iClone. And with iClone, I can basically set up whatever I want.
My name is Hamster Horse. I'm a filmmaker from Northern British Columbia.
Right? So he's using this to build his scenes and everything else for his shows, right? So you have a 3D environment in which you have lights, cameras, you can do props, all this stuff, your lighting tools. Now, with this program, you can interact with a motion capture suit. So that gives you access to motion capture. Now, what I want you to understand is what happens with this. Oops, go back. I didn't open you for a reason. I wanted to stay here. You see, it interacts with iClone 7 and you get all your motions and everything else. If you look at the plugins, what do you see? Unreal Live Link means you can move your stuff directly into Unreal from iClone 7. So I can take my iClone 7 assets and bayow, right? So now I can bring everything that comes in here and transfer it directly. One click asset transfer, and it transfers it over. Hold on. There we go. This is iClone 7. Boom, it's exporting now. And now you can see. Now it's freely positioning it into the scene. You can see shadows, real time. So that is to be able to bring these characters straight in from iClone 7, animate them inside iClone 7, and bring them right into Unreal directly. Now, what else can I do with this? Again, this thing does right. The reason why I opened this way was because if you go to products and you go down to here, I want you to see for some reason. There we go. It's finally loading. All right. So character creator 3. Wow. Oh, it's not loaded all the way. Let me do this one more time. There we go. So character creator 3, you can create the characters you want. That is the dude from Westworld. As you can see, the textures, the kind of quality you have. Again, this system, what I'm trying to build for myself is an easy way to create the type of characters I want and to bring them into wherever I want. So now, not only can I create these characters, I can outfit them, I can put them into scenes, I can bring those scenes over to Unreal, I can light everything, I can shoot everything, I can have the camera, everything I want to do preset, doing all that. Also, what ends up coming in with it is you get all of these characters, animations. So you can go in here and buy not only the archviz, so you can buy the sets, but you can also have these characters that are animated. See, you know what that looks like? The whole. Right? So you've got the motions and you've got these actors. So you've got to understand how we do business in the future is changing because how we're going to create things is going to change. Now, these assets are being used in video games right now. These assets are being used everywhere right now, and that's the use of them. What we're going into is a world where you're going to get to market faster. How you get to market is basically the best, is how you're going to determine your revenue, right? So here you see he's holding a iPhone Touch. Let me see. Real-time 3D animation software. I want to see if we can just get to, yeah, you can see the animations, the preset animations, but I want them to show you the, if they have it here. Give me a second. I'm trying to see if this one has it, but it doesn't. Let me look for one thing. Because I think I closed it when I was acting stupid. Products. I think this was it. Yep, this is it. Motion Live. I want y'all to see this. And I'm going to show you what I do typically is I speed up anything. I don't watch things normally anymore. So as you can see, you can do mocap. And that includes facial. See? Okay. He's showing you right there. In fact, let me slow it down because now that it's I have a big, huge, ridiculous festivity for how Madden has been running their business, EA Sports, and all these other companies because they have this technology, but they're lazy and don't want to do anything anymore. And that's why I keep telling y'all the gaming industry is about to get knocked on its ass because you now can buy these devices or even make these devices in the future because these small Raspberry Pis are getting small and they have accelerometers and all these other things. You'll be able to get these pieces of equipment and build this equipment if you want to, and or you can buy them as they get cheaper and cheaper as other people are making them. As you can see here, this guy is there's a camera and you see that his face is manipulating the faces in real time. They do this with an iPhone touch. You can put a helmet in front. And you can see now he's got his hands. Now he's doing it with some other type of device. And you see he has a camera phone there. He's talking. And it's controlling that person that was on there. And he's moving around. So you can use motion caption gear as well as the facial recognition software to be able to get the motions you want. See, he's moving eyebrows and everything else. So again, my strategy is, and before, like that's why I said, the metaverse or whatever verse it's gonna be, to me, doesn't really matter unless certain things are met. And that is, can I move my assets from where I have and into Unreal? Yes. Then, once I get into Unreal, can I then take my assets and put that on some type of machine or server or whatever, or render it out to use for video and into NFTs and everything else? Yes. This speeds up render time. I don't have to have these big render machines, and I can do better with my business on this side of the board. Now, what I'm looking for and why all of that is important is when you hear what I'm trying to do, you see I'm not looking with any of these games. It doesn't matter to me because none of these are going to do what I need for what I need to create assets to sell, assets that I can put in world, cars that connect to a stream that is playing a radio station that is a Raspberry Pi that's feedbacking from a YouTube stream, generating revenue because it's playing streams that are on CD Baby and are collecting royalties. And we have playlists that are just playlists, right? So, and we can promote playlists. So that's why I said that this business model, what I'm doing, is really in need of something in particular. And what I'm looking for is which networks are going to allow me to connect to Unreal. Now, Unreal already has a connection to Engine. So I know that there is an API that can connect internally to Engine's platform. And so Unreal will be loading there, and a lot of games will head that way. Epic now telling blockchain games to get in their quote unquote network. We'll have to see what network that is. Epic Games might be the play, like to look at Epic Games and see what they're doing, what blockchains or what that games are going to jump on that blockchain, and what blockchains are associated with those games. And that again is why I say you'll probably be coming here and just looking at these individually and kind of just looking at what the game does, what's really going on with it. Now, the big one, and then I'll go through everything that Noel was asking for, because again, I don't think there's a real network that we can look at and say this network's going to win because it's too early. So I can just tell you some of the ones I keep hearing over and over again and over and over again. And that would be right now Wax. Where's Wax? Immutable X. Actually, Immutable X. Immutable X. They got IM View. This is one of the oldest games. This is right around the time of Second Life. They have a world in which they sell products and everything else. So they're using Immutable X, and they're on iOS and Android, and they're web. Whack. Guild of Guardians is on iOS and Android. My Crypto Heroes. So again, these are not like networks, but you can see Immutable X is a network. So when you're looking and you're asking, well, what networks are everybody into, or what's, this is why you find it. This is how you find it yourself. So you'll know, okay, if you come here and you go look at an Engine and you see, well, Engine's got 11 sitting here. Well, boom, I can come here and I can see, oh, I've got 19 in Windows. And you can just keep a track of that. You can use a spreadsheet or whatever and just keep a track of how many games are getting on the platform or onboarding of the platform. What is their social looking like? Is it increasing? You can also, another one is, I think it's over here. I want to say it's here. Okay, yes. What I use here on DAP Radar, let's say if I go to, let's say Avalanche, right? There's Avalanche games coming. So here, if you want to know, if you go to DAP Radar / where did I have it first? Rankings, category games. So if you go to DAP Radar, if you don't know where it is, you just come to DAP Radar. You click on games right here, or you go to rankings. Hold on. Yeah, you go to rankings. Click on rankings. When you come to rankings, click on games, and then there's your games, right? And then what you can do is choose which game network you're interested in. So what I did first was I knew I had Polygon, and I knew Polygon was cheap. So I was interested in Polygon's, what games were going to be there. So there you go. Here's all the Polygon games that are on the network. Then what you can do is just sort it by volume. Click it so that it's descending. And now here you go. Here is the ones that are seemingly making the most money in volume. And that's 24 hours. So then what you can do is go 7 days. So now you've got a 7-day look at who's generated income. And then you can just go down that list and kind of keep abreast of which ones you like or don't like, or what you like about certain things. Right? As you can see, Rev Racing, that's like Need for Speed. So this is how you could find something like that. Right? Let's see, Harmony. Like if you're interested in Harmony now, you got a few games here. But of course, there plays off of other things like DeFi Kingdoms. It's like the other Kingdom games. Then Vulcan Forge is a new one. Forge Arena. This is a game company, I think, that's making it for other companies to get on there. That might be another platform play. So again, what you do is you go to these places and you kind of look. So you see Risk doesn't have any dApps right now. IoTex has some things over here. There's no Solana here yet. We got OXE Chain, so there's some games right there. Blade Warrior, I don't know any of these, but there's Samurai, that seems interesting. Tezos. This was how you know that Tezos is a programming situation, right? So when people are like, well, why did you buy Tezos? Because I was expecting this to happen too. Because it can run stuff like Tron. Like, oh, Tron is great. Okay, I'm looking at their games. I'm looking at how much those games are generating. How great can it be? Polygon's crushing it. See what I'm saying? ETH. ETH is too expensive. So whatever games are here for me is out of the question. So that's how you can find your games. So if you're looking to be able to figure out how to find what games you might be interested in, to figure out what worlds they might be in, here's how you figure out what worlds they are. It's the networks. Which networks are important? Here you go. Here's all where you're like, go to Polkadot. See, no games on the network yet. No Windows games on the network. Let's just say all devices. It's gonna crack out on me. Hold on. All games. To just reset it, and then go to Polkadot. There we go. And there you go. So you've got some Polka games. So if you have Polkadot, it's really up to you on what you've already holding and whether or not what's the transaction fees looking like for you. Right? For me, Ethereum is too expensive. I don't care about that. I need cheaper transactions. So that's why I look at like the Polkadots, the engines, the polygons. Binance is interesting, but again, that's a Chinese company play, and I don't want to touch anything. Look at Solana. Boom, here's Solana. See now, this is like